Follow this line down and you can see that some of the worst damage from last night's storms is right here in Fort Branch. We've got a 5-gallon bucket. As you can see, in just a matter of seconds, this bucket is filled up. And Kane says this has been happening since 7:30 last night. This weekend alone, 16 suspected drunk drivers off the street. The biggest problem was that the main transmission lines into Fort Branch were damaged. It's the first time since the law changed that the decision will be in a judge's hands. Innocent or guilty, if police tell you to stop, you should listen. The morning after paints an eerie picture. A pool of blood on the porch, a cane lying next to it, a hospital sock on the step below. They all belong to Gerald Sutton, Jr.
I think that the police used a weapon against me that was totally uncalled for.
This scene happening just moments after Sutton Jr. gets out of a car returning from a hospital stay Tuesday night. According to this police affidavit, police were looking for Gerald Sutton Sr., who's 72 years old. So when Jr. pulled up in his car, they asked his name. He said Gerald. Police thought they had the right man. Sutton Sr. was wanted on a gun charge, so police were quick to be cautious. But a misunderstanding quickly escalated.
All the orders we gave him, he didn't comply. He started walking towards the house.
Hoover says Sutton Jr. started swearing at police, refusing to stop. Thinking this was still their armed suspect, officers threatened to use the canine. That's when both police and Sutton Jr. confirm he said he'd shoot the dog.
Why didn't I listen? Because they never told me anything about what had been going on. They just suck a dog on me.
Sutton Jr. says he did not stop because he needed to go inside to change his clothes to make it to the pharmacy on time. Instead of the pharmacy, he was back in the hospital last night with, take a look, multiple bite wounds.
It takes a trained police dog to handle one disabled gentleman that's standing in his own yard at his own house.
Was proper procedure followed?
Absolutely. The suspect dictated by his noncompliance that it was our belief that he was potentially armed, and you know, his noncompliance dictated us escalating to the use of the canine.
And it only took one call from News 25 to get it fixed. If Dallas Kane learned anything this morning, it's that the fire hydrant on his corner worked really well. He learned that the hard way when all the water went down his street into his daughter's yard, threatening 2 homes. The water simply
making a mess. Destroying it. That's what it's doing.
Let's give you an idea of just how much water is coming out of this hydrant. We've got a 5-gallon bucket. As you can see, in just a matter of seconds, this bucket is filled up. And Kane says this has been happening since 7:30 last night. Do some quick math and you figure out roughly more than 75,000 gallons poured out as of noon today.
And I'm getting tired of it. Something needs to be done.
That's when News 25 called the water department. Within an hour, our cameras were rolling as crews came to shut the hydrant off. Minutes later, manager Dwayne Gillis was on the scene. He tells News 25 his department got a call of discolored water in the area, meaning the hydrants needed to be flushed. That's what happened.
Not knowing that the water wasn't going to drain off.
Gillis poked around and agreed with the homeowner, saying there is not a proper ditch to handle the water runoff. Can something be done to fix this?
Yeah, and I'll make a call, and someone will come down and get the ditch cleaned out.
It is clear some feel they're worth a whole lot more. Qualified applicants need apply. This posting from the Evansville-Vanderburg School Corporation calls for a new administrative assistant. Education required, a high school diploma. The pay, more than $40,000 a year. That salary prompting an email from an Evansville teacher upset when you compare the numbers.
I think they're justifiably upset that you know, they have a master's or a bachelor's at a minimum and a master's, and they're starting out at less money.
We checked out the numbers, and they break down like this. A first-year teacher with a bachelor's degree starts around $32,000, and it would take 16 years to hit that first-year administrative assistant's salary. If you have a master's, a shade under a decade. So we brought these numbers to the EVSC, asking why teachers seemingly get the short end of the stick. Communications Director Marcia Jackson said the argument was not valid and had some numbers of her own. Administrative assistants get paid for 260 days a year at 8 hours per day. Teachers, 182 days at 6 hours per day.
When you average that out per day, per salary, the teachers, if you would give them the same salary, they would actually make more.
Jackson also points out that the current salaries are negotiated and agreed upon by the Teachers Association. Hartz agrees, but says the job of a teacher goes well beyond the classroom.
It's not just for a half an hour every night, it's for 2 or 3 hours every night that they go home and they do grade papers. They do plan for the next day.
We believe we are paying teachers fairly. Those are issues that we look at regularly and investigate thoroughly.
Hart says salary negotiations will not happen again until June 2009. He says there is a statewide effort to ensure all teachers begin at least $40,000 per year. Alan Cavanna, News 25.
A News 25